Go ahead.
Yeah. Is there like a cult theory? Like this group was like a suicide pact or something? Is that theory?
No.
No. I don't know, man. Just thinking all bases, you know?
What if no one's looking at that angle? What if you solved it right now?
Exactly.
No contest.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the High Morale Podcast. I am your host for today, Jordan. And with me, I have your usual suspects. We got Michael.
Yo, what's up, Michael?
Arvin.
Well, yo, what's up, Arvin?
And Monster Hunter #1 fan, Patrick.
Yeah, bro. What's up, everyone?
Welcome back to the High Morale Podcast.
Welcome back. So, Jordan, what's the OBJ today?
All right, I'm glad you asked, Arvin. So today we're going to take a little bit of a turn from our usual topics and have like a kind of a set topic. So today is what I want to hopefully implement in the future of the podcast, and it's our monthly mystery. So today I have one of my favorite mysteries for you guys. I did a bunch of research and I'm going to go through all the details. Hopefully, if you guys have any questions, feel free to interject, and then hopefully we could just have a nice little discussion about this, because this is some crazy shit, to be honest with you.
Okay, I'm ready. Hit us with it.
All right. I know some of you guys did some research, or maybe some people out there probably have heard of this, but this is the story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident.
You gotta say it with the Russian accent. Do it.
I'm not going to do that Russian accent because I don't want to offend anybody, because I'm terrible at accents. Also, glad you brought that up, because there's a lot of Russian pronouns and names in here that I'll probably butcher. So sorry in advance about that.
Okay.
But yeah, if you guys have any questions, if you guys get lost along the way, feel free to let me know.
Okay.
All right, cool.
All right.
It was aliens.
I mean, we'll get to the theories. Let me set the scene for you guys. So this year is 1959, Cold War Russia. On January 25th, a group of 10 hikers set off on a skiing expedition across the northern Urals of Sverdlovsk Oblast in the Soviet Union. So the Urals are just like, it's basically a mountain range in northern Russia, in the Siberian wilderness. It is worth noting that 9 of these 10 hikers were either current or former students from the Ural Polytechnical Institute. So they're about in their early 20s.
Group of young guys.
Super young guys.
Is a group
girls,
of all
right?
guys?
There was 2 girls and the rest
Oh,
of
I
guys.
see.
So their leader, his name was Igor Dyatlov, which the incident is named after. And the whole group was grade 2 certified in hiking and skiing. So what that means, so that's the second most highest grade you could get. And if they were to complete this expedition, they would get grade 3, which is the most prestigious certification you could get for this type of thing. So these guys were experienced.
Was that their OBJ to get that grade
was their
3?
I guess that was their OBJ.
The grades are based on their expertise, right? Of knowledge and experience. Is that what the grading system is?
Yeah, it would. And at the time, this was the highest level. They were going for the highest.
Okay. You're going for challenger level.
They were going for rank 1, baby.
Okay.
Rank one, yo.
So
It's
they
worth-
planned a 16-day expedition to the Gora or Torten Mountain. And then after they complete it, they would receive their grade 3 certification.
Wait.
Yes.
Did they just have to go through?
They just had to go there and come back.
Okay.
One piece.
Okay.
All right.
So the group, originally, actually, it was a group of 9. And then somewhere along the way, because the mountain's about like 300 miles from the nearest inhabited town. And then somewhere along that way, when they were creating the groups, because they have to go through a certain process to be able to actually venture up the mountain. So when they were registering to go up the mountain, someone was added to their group, a 10th person named Sasha Alexeyevich, or Sasha Zolotaryov. And he was mysterious, to say the least. He was almost twice as old as the oldest person, and he was kind of covered in strange tattoos.
But his name was Sasha.
Sasha.
Dope. Okay.
Or at least that's what the group knew him as. The group received their route book, which listed their course as the number 5 path, and then they were basically set on their way. Before they left, one of the group members named Yuri Yudin suffered a leg injury, and he had basically like a lifetime of injuries and health defects. He had like rheumatism and a congenital heart defect, and then so he realized that like he's just gonna slow the group down, and I'm gonna turn back here, you guys go on ahead, I don't want to slow you down, type of deal.
Ooh, convenient.
Okay.
Convenient. And he's the only surviving member of the hiking group due to that reason.
1 out of 10.
Gift in disguise, man.
Damn.
He subsequently lived to about, I'm not even sure, but I remember he died in 2013. So he lived a
pretty
long
recent.
life. So
Yeah.
lived a full life, and lucky for him, I guess.
Do you think he kind of has like a little bit of guilt that he lives and his buddies don't?
Oh, it's
get
like
to?
survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
That's
For
interesting
sure.
to think about. That's hard to think about.
Oh, so my question is, did he turn back at the beginning?
Yeah, he turned back before they even started.
Okay.
So
yes.
there's this, the last inhabited city is a town called Visay, and that's the last place the hikers like spent the night. And I assume somewhere in that time period, that's when he realized, oh, I gotta turn back. So this isn't even before they started their trek.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they spent the night there. They bought loaves of bread to keep their energy up. And from their photos and journals, so I told you that Sasha seemed like kind of like, was like the interloper of the group, so he was kind of like new. But from the photos and journals, they suggest that he was basically kind of accepted within the group.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
So, and speaking of those journals and photos, so I mentioned these guys were experienced hikers, and it's like, this is like legit because they vastly prepared for this expedition. They were experienced. They didn't take this trip lightly. They didn't bring any booze or cigarettes. They kept meticulous journal entries. They brought 2 first aid kits. Like, they were prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
And I'm pretty sure that if they didn't keep such meticulous notes and photographs, that we wouldn't be talking about this mystery, because
I
like
see.
everything like leading up to one another is like crucial information.
Okay.
On January 31st, the group arrived. They started their expedition up, where during their expedition, they arrived to kind of like this highland area
Mm-hmm.
where they began to climb. And so the first few days of the journey, I think the first 2 or 3 days were kind of, they were like, all right. There was a path to follow. And once they started their ascent, they stored a surplus of supplies and equipment, so food and other things that they would need on their descent or their way back.
Okay.
So they're planning this stuff out, and there's no indication that they're gonna spend extra time up the mountain. Like,
Yeah.
they're not going there, and they're planning to come back, because as it showed,
Okay.
Yeah.
because they're preparing for the way back. So from there on, they began to climb. After the first few days, the weather takes a turn for the worst. So there's a bunch of like pictures and stuff of their expedition. I'm gonna send you guys some of those. Yeah,
Okay.
it's actually very eerie.
Whoa.
They're basically trekking in
Oh.
like total whiteout conditions. Just
This
like
is exactly what
a
I was
single-
picturing. Jesus.
a single line of hikers hiking into a blurry gray
Yeah, that's insane.
landscape.
I was
So they're-
imagining like Sahara Desert, but the exact opposite.
Yeah, just
Jesus.
white, wind blowing in their face. It's snowing. It's crazy. The leader, Igor's journals, he equated the wind to like equivalent of that of a jet blast.
Ooh, that's
So
insane.
it was messy. So
Mhm.
this harsh weather deviated their course. So they were originally going to the Gora or Torten mountain, and they got pushed off towards a different mountain, kind of northwest of it. It's called Kolatsiako. And in the local Manzi,
Ooh,
according to the local Manzi, like they translated it means dead mountain. So
Damn, that's scary.
Explain
Rest
the
in peace.
Mansi. Explain the Mansi.
Oh, so yeah, the Mansi are basically the indigenous tribe that lives in the area. So they're a peaceful tribe. They leave. This basically they know the area best.
I see.
When they realized they deviated off course, instead of backtracking to go the correct way, so like they already made some altitude. So Igor decided that instead of backtracking, that they would set up camp on the slope.
Oh, I see.
On the slope?
On the slope of the mountain.
Oh, okay.
It's not like that harsh of a slope. I read it was about maybe less than 30 degrees of a slope.
Okay.
And they prepared the area. So it's a slope, but then they kind of like dug in, so it's like that.
So it's like kind of flat. Yeah.
So, and then their tent would go there. And their tent was kind of like a beast of a tent. Like there was a chimney with it. And it could fit like it's like a 13-man tent.
Also big boy tent. Okay.
It's a big boy tent, right?
So they plan to continue the next morning, like it's just a detour at this point?
Yeah, it's I think I read that like the weather was so harsh that they like were exhausted by like midday, so they just decided to
set up camp. I see.
Now, they were expected back into town, which Vizay, on February 12th, where they would send a telegram to their college notifying that they made it back. But Igor, the leader, told Yuri, the one who turned back, that they might spend a few extra days up on the mountain due to like weather conditions and whatnot. So February 12th came and went, and there was nobody heard anything.
No telegram.
No telegram, but it didn't raise alarms because of what Yuri was told by Igor.
Because there's a notice. So
exactly. And it wasn't till February 20th, so 8 days later, more than a week later, that friends and family pressured the university into creating a search group for the hikers.
Okay.
And so the first group of rescuers were sent off that day, comprising mostly of volunteers and students. They would later get help from the military forces with planes and helicopters to join the operation. Yeah, so that's where we are at this point.
How long was the hike supposed to be?
It was supposed to be 16 days.
16 days. Okay.
16 days. They left around January 25th or 30th.
And then when were they supposed to send a telegram?
February 12th.
Okay. And then they haven't heard since until like they didn't hear about anything. So then on February 20th, the parents pressured the university to
parents, family members, other students, friends, like just a group of their peers pressured the university into and police into acting like where's our family, man? Where's our friends? I haven't heard from them. And I guess on February 12th there wasn't that much alarm because one, there was a notice, and two, everyone knows they're experienced, right? They know how to brave the wilderness, so to speak. Yeah, so this is where the story takes a turn because everyone's expecting to find them alive. And the tent was found by Mikhail Sharavin, and it was half torn down, covered in snow. Most of the group's belongings were still inside. Oh, I should mention this was another week later that they found this. So it took another week to find the camp.
So 2 weeks after the expected date of the telegram.
Yes, 2 weeks after the expected telegram. So, found the tent. There was some snow on it. It was collapsed in. And inside were the belongings of the group, including boots and shoes. And upon further investigation, it was discovered that the tent was sliced open from the inside with a knife. Something, whatever happened, forced the hikers to slice open their only form of shelter and escape through that hole into the wilderness without taking any form of protection from the elements.
Because you said they left their shoes and shit, right?
Exactly.
So they pretty much ran out like barefoot and like all their belongings and stuff.
Out, like from the hole on the side of the tent, there were 9 or 8 sets of footprints. So everyone's basically accounted for. But they weren't running. The footprints indicate a pattern that was that wasn't indicative of a group in a panic. So some of them were barefoot, some of them were wearing socks, some of them just one shoe, but they were almost single filely heading down the mountain, and some carefully stepping in the footsteps of the people in front of them. So they weren't running. They were
like it wasn't like scattered panic footprints.
Exactly.
Basically, it was like in a line. Basically,
almost, yeah, basically like orderly almost. So no indication of running, basically. So they were walking down this mountain.
What I think it's one pro stepping up, and then everyone just following in. You know, when like you follow your big brother coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why would they be doing that though?
Exactly. So
Yeah,
they
true.
left the tent, and they didn't even bother with the door. So they were in a rush, but not in that much of a rush. I don't know, man.
I was gonna say like when you suffer hypothermia, you have this thing called paradoxical undressing.
Oh, we'll get to
But the fact that all of them did that, there's no way it's hypothermia. Because I know. Okay, spoiler. I know that the doctors or the people deemed their death as hypothermia, but it's not. I know it's not.
I have a feeling
So-
I know what was involved in here.
Wait, so they found they found the bodies of all 9 people?
Oh, we'll get there.
Okay. Continue.
Don't you worry, bro.
Sorry. This is scary. that's
We should have done this at
scary.
night.
Ooh.
All right, so investigators followed the footsteps about 500 meters, then the rest were kind of covered in snow, so they lost the tracks basically. And then at the edge of the forest, so further down the mountain near the tree line, they found the remains of a fire. And by that, they found the first 2 bodies of Yuri and Georgi.
Wait. So
Yeah,
they
go
were
ahead.
seeking heat, right?
Warmth.
So
Supposedly.
they were sane in the mind. Yeah, they were cognitive.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
At this point,
Perhaps.
they're still mentally stable.
Well, yeah, there's definitely signs that, especially later on as we get some more details of how sane they are. Yes, Patrick.
Did these bodies have like jackets and boots
Oh, we'll get to
on or
that. I was
anything?
just about to get to that.
Yeah.
So
okay,
these
okay.
2 bodies of Yuri and Georgi were found only in their undergarments. So
Yeah, that doesn't sound sane to me.
so I think Georgi was wearing like swimming shorts and like an undershirt, basically.
A sando.
A sando.
Yeah, these guys don't sound like rank 1 to me. Just saying.
And above them, about 5 meters up, or I think that's about 15 something feet for all you Americans, they found the branches on the trees were kind of broken. And
Oh.
upon further testing, there was flesh found on the bark of the tree. So this kind of suggests that they were trying to climb at some point, either to get away from something or to maybe get a better vantage point. So let's talk about the injuries of these victims. So Yuri,
These 2 victims.
these 2 victims.
Okay.
So they were both found with burns on their lower bodies, so near the shins and feet, hands scraped up, and basically just heavy bruising. The scraping of the hands further indicates that they were probably climbing up the tree for some reason. Maybe to get branches for the fire.
That's what I'm thinking.
We could only speculate.
Mm-hmm.
And it was determined that their bodies were moved post-mortem. So after death, they were moved. So once they died, they were moved. Later on, we'll get into because there's indications that they were slightly clothed, and then the rest of the group took their clothes for extra
Oh,
warmth once they passed. So those are our first 2 bodies.
Okay. This is scary.
Damn.
It wasn't until the next day that further up the mountain between the camp and the tree line that the next 2 bodies were found.
By the same guy? They found
Pardon?
found by the same guy or a different group?
Just like the search group in general, I assume.
The search group. Oh, I see. Okay.
Oh, and the last 2 bodies were deemed hypothermia, as Michael said.
Okay.
And then the next day, another 2 bodies were found. Igor, the leader, and Zadina, which is one of the 2 females of the group.
I see.
and they were laid in positions that suggest they were trying to head back up to the campsite. So we got 2 people down by the tree line making a fire, another 2 trying to head towards the campsite, so to speak. At least that's what's suggested by the way that their bodies were found. And then the next day, a little further up the mountain, so a little closer to the camp, was the body of Rustam. And he had a little more
Unusual.
unexplainable injuries. Yes, exactly. So he had major skull damage, and his knuckles were bruised. And from what the investigators say, those are the type of injuries you would see in a fist fight, according to the bruising on his
I
knuckles.
see. Yeah.
That's 5 of the 9 hikers. And it wasn't until months later that they would find the last 4. And the last 4,
The weirdest ones.
You guys gotta like buckle in for this.
What?
pic-
It gets
you have
even
pictures?
nuttier.
Huh?
Do you have pictures?
We would get demonetized.
No, pictures for us.
I'm not sure. Okay, full disclosure, there are pictures. It comes with a warning. It's kind of like it doesn't really add anything to the investigation. You're not going to find out anything about these photos. It'll just be disturbing photos to look at, and I'm kind of a bitch.
All right.
Ooh, I like morbid photos.
Yeah, me
It's like
too.
you cannot unsee this.
Fair.
I could link it to you guys afterwards, but yeah, they found these bodies further into the forest line in a ravine. So this is basically around March now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, no, this is May. My mistake.
Around May.
So the ravine was about 75 meters further into the forest, and it was found under 4 meters of snow. So it was suggested that these bodies were trying to make kind of like a makeshift shelter, because they were under about 4 meters of snow, and there was pine tree branches laid out, which goes back to the first 2 bodies seeing those branches broken and whatnot. So
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
that's what happened there.
So they dug.
Yeah, they dug.
Okay.
And 3 of the 4 bodies were better dressed than the others, having jackets, some sort of pants, some sort of footwear or foot covering. But yeah, let's get into the injuries of these 4 bodies, because these are the these are the only bodies, I would say, that they deemed the cause of death not to be hypothermia.
Mm-hmm.
One body was the body of Alexander, and he was found with a broken nose and a deformed neck. So
Oh,
sort of like
shit.
his neck got snapped.
Look at this.
Another
This.
body was that of Nikolai, and he had bruising of the face, and his skull was shattered.
Shit.
Shattered. So this isn't the same as the other body of Rustam. So he had the same. One sec. He had the same like skull damage. Not the same, but like this guy had skull damage, probably like more measurable than the before. And I forgot to mention this, but Rustam, they determined that he survived those injuries. So the one that was found on the slope of the mountain, he survived those injuries, and he was still living. So he's probably disoriented when he was still climbing up the mountain.
So he died to hypothermia, not due to the injuries.
Not due to the injuries.
I see. Okay.
Yes, Michael, you were saying?
You know you said how the skulls were shattered. Does it say of like what kind
There's-
of force?
Yes, we'll talk about that.
Okay,
in a
okay.
bit. And then the last 2 bodies were the strangest of them all. So the last 2 bodies were that of Sasha, the interloper, and the last female, which was Luda.
Okay.
These both of them had broken ribs. Luda had 10 broken ribs, and Sasha had 5 broken ribs. And both of them were missing their eyes.
What?
And Luda was missing her tongue and part of her lips. So her teeth
Oh,
were
yeah.
exposed, and she had no tongue.
Cannibalism.
I don't know, man. But going back to the broken ribs, it was determined that no human could produce the force necessary to break those ribs, to sustain those injuries, to cause those injuries, rather.
Was she clothed?
And yes, they were clothed.
Okay.
And if they were to equate it, they would need the force that you would find in a car crash to sustain those injuries.
What the fuck?
And let me go even further, because upon the autopsy, there was no tissue damage on their
surface, right?
On their surface. So normally,
it got break from the inside, is what you're trying to say? It got broken through the inside?
There was no, like,
what?
You couldn't see any tissue damage.
Like no bruising, right?
Mm-hmm. And this
what
is
the hell?
This is I'm trying to give you guys the information that I could confirm, but this is something I saw in some, but I'm not sure if it was confirmed. So Luda, the one with her tongue missing, had blood in her stomach, suggesting that she was alive when her tongue was removed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to the last bit of information that just like, what? Okay. So you were asking if they were clothed. They were better dressed, wearing multiple jackets, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would mention that Sasha was the best clothed out of all of them.
Okay.
But they had clothing that tested positive for radioactivity.
Oh, radiation, right?
So they got the Geiger meter, tested the thing, and it spiked. Now, I should mention that we don't know how much radioactivity they were exposed to, because it was found like months later. The snow could have washed it away, but it's still definitely more than normal. I mean, you don't really see radiation on clothing, right?
Yeah.
So,
what the fuck?
that's all the information we know about the Dyatlov Pass incident. So I told you they took meticulous journals. They took meticulous journals up until that night, and then nothing. So we know whatever happened to them was that night.
Well, was there a date on that last entry?
I think it was February 1st.
So February 1st, they got fucked.
Same. Yeah, same.
Like, what are the top solutions? Is what people are saying.
Yeah. What are the
like,
theories?
Well, I just want to.
What are the theories?
First of all,
Aliens.
I know this. I just want to get a gut check from you guys. What are you guys feeling? How are you guys feeling about this information I just thrusted upon you guys?
I feel it's scary. I feel it's either cannibalism or Bigfoot.
It's so okay. All right, I'll just say this: the Yeti is one of the theories.
The Yeti,
Yeah.
he's strong as shit, yo. I don't know, man.
But, like, the thing that
Oh, I should mention, well, just to dissuade you real quick, they didn't find any indication that there was anyone else but them on the mountain. Not even animal tracks or anything like that. So if it's a Yeti, then he's covering his tracks really well. Just saying.
Okay.
So
That's out of the question.
what trips me up the most is, why did they leave the tent in the first place? That's
The whole mystery
Yeah.
hinges on this fact. Why
Once
did
you
they
solve
leave the tent?
that, then you'll know what happened, right? You said there was no extra set of footprints.
Nope.
There can't be a third party.
And these are pro hikers. They wouldn't just leave without all their gear and shit, right?
Yeah, they're university students too. They're not
Yeah.
stupid.
Exactly the point, right? They're experienced, they're smart. They wouldn't destroy their only form of shelter for no reason.
They weren't under the
So-
influence.
So,
What was the
like
reason?
the cold they cut in the tent, was it at the back of the tent, or was it like?
So you know, like, basically your basic cartoon tent, right? It's just a
Yeah.
long triangular piece of canvas.
Yeah.
The one side of the triangle was facing upwards on the mountain, the other side was facing downwards, and they sliced open the side. So I do
The
have
side.
a
Like the slope part. So the cut, like the entrance. Which way was the entrance facing? Towards the downwards the slope or upwards the slope?
downwards.
Probably downward. Yeah,
I
makes
see.
sense.
Yeah. I want to see if I can find. I have pictures of the destroyed tent.
Oh, I want to see
So,
that.
the tent.
Oh man, whenever I look at
found
that
it.
picture, I just get eerie.
Let's see. I'm scared. Let's see.
There's even a
Scary,
picture
right?
of one of them with like a piece of their cheek just cut off. Like,
Yeah, we're definitely not showing that. So
yeah.
going back to Patrick's Yeti theory, one of the only sources of evidence is this picture.
Oh, the picture.
Which is-
Let me see.
Yeti photo.
Oh, this is a
We'll show-
real photo
we'll show-
from these
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah. This is. What
That's so scary.
The hairy dude.
Yeah, that's our culprit, guys. We saw him.
we got him.
We got him. We got him.
No, but a lot of people say it's just like someone with
It's just a dude, man.
It's
gear.
just a funny photo that they took, right, or something like that.
Maybe.
Probably.
Someone was lagging behind, and then
They're like,
saw it.
hey, and there's like, hey, you look like Bigfoot, man. This
Yeah,
is
maybe-
hilarious. Can't wait to meme this when we get back down.
This
Okay.
is this is what the tent looks like.
Oh,
Damn.
oh, damn.
Damn.
So what other theories are there aside from Bigfoot?
So I'm just gonna jump right into it. The first theory is aliens.
Aliens.
That's the first theory I have written down here, and this theory hinges on kind of like eyewitness testimonies almost.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sure.
this is, despite the conditions, this is a mountain that gets frequented by experienced hikers. And there was reports on the night of the incident that there were strange glowing orbs in the sky. And this was due to this is found from police reports from multiple people. And the lead investigator, Lev Ivanov, he was looking into these lights and kind of like trying to connect the dots and whatnot. While he was doing this, he was called into Moscow and told by his higher ups to stop looking into it.
Uh-oh. What's his name? What's his name?
Lev Ivanov.
Lev, cut the bullshit. Don't do that anymore.
You got him, bro.
You think you're getting close, and then your higher ups are like, "Yo,
Lev,
stop."
cut the bullshit.
But yeah, and according to him, and then there's another UFO kind of enthusiast specialist. According to them, there were burn marks on the top of the trees, unexplained burn marks.
Mm-hmm.
So the theory is that aliens came down and attacked the campsite with heat rays. Is the theory
Nice.
in layman's terms, with
Nice.
heat rays? But obviously, we don't see that.
There's no evidence, right?
The injuries, exactly. There's not really evidence for this, but
Maybe-
it's worth mentioning
Oh, yeah.
that people saw things
So-
in the sky that night.
So aliens pulled up, hit him with some mind control, and boom.
And then Bigfoot came and was like,
Bigfoot kid, beat them up, you
with
know.
the Glock.
Boom, boom, boom. No Glock, straight hands, because you know, boom,
Tuck
boom,
their
boom,
eyes.
and then took their eyes, took her lips, and then he Bigfoot used like some advanced technology to break the girl's ribs from the inside, and boom,
the whooshy finger hold.
mission. I mean, case closed.
But yeah, so that's the alien theory.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
honestly, I don't feel too strongly about this theory. There's not much evidence to support.
Yeah, but probability theory says that it's possible.
It's yeah.
Right.
And here's the thing about these theories: all of them are possible, but none of them explain everything.
Mhm.
Like all the
True.
factors, and that's the most frustrating thing about this, I guess. Like
Mhm.
we don't have a real.
Because like 70 years later from that incident, even aliens still sound weird.
True.
Exactly.
So what other theories are there? Is there any other like outstanding theories
So this
that
goes
really
back
stick out?
to the orbs in the sky, the lights in the sky. So the mountain was kind of in the area of the mountain. There are military test sites, and again, this is Cold War Russia. So they're trying to get advances in technology, trying to pace the states.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there was records that military tests were happening all throughout February and March. And in the book Mountain of the Dead, by Keith Klosky, it states that 2 bomber planes were testing air mines at the night of the incident. So what air mines are, it's basically, like dropping bombs from a plane, but these bombs don't explode on impact. They explode above the ground.
Mhm. Like way above.
So,
right?
yeah, I don't have the details of like the specifics of these things, but that's what they do in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So it's on record that there was strong winds that night. So what's theorized is that one of these bombs was flown off course. It detonated above the campsite, scaring the hikers, fleeing the thing, into fleeing the campsite. And the shock wave, or the pressure wave, is what sustained the injuries of the
4 bodies and whatnot.
the 4 bodies. Exactly, the 4 bodies. And that's why they had to leave right away. And somehow, like, depending on the type of air mines they were testing, that could account for the radiation.
Yeah.
But that's basically how that theory goes. But that theory doesn't really explain how you get your tongue ripped out or your eyes missing. Which,
Is there any-
honestly, that's the fact that I get hung up on the most. Like, most of these theories can't really explain that.
Is there any outstanding theories in regards to the girl's ribs?
Yes, there are. But how do you guys feel about the missile theory? I know, Michael,
No.
you did some research about everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there any theory that you feel strongly about?
Okay, so they say how it blew up on top or near their campsite, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, assuming there's a shock wave, it would have affected them like within seconds, right? And it would have affected their camp as well, and the snow, because shock waves assume that
And-
like there's pressure. So with that pressure, there should have been like a reaction from the mountain, let's say through an avalanche, right?
Exactly.
If
And also, why
wait.
did only 4 of them sustain injuries?
Yeah, why only 4? So if there was an avalanche coming, why would they walk in a straight line, right?
Exactly.
Unless it happened at nighttime, right? And they had to like see each other, and they were afraid.
I'm pretty sure this is assumed this is happening during the night, because they wouldn't set up camp during the day, right?
Oh, true. Right.
Yeah.
So
No, remember you were saying like the snow was crazy, so they had to set up camp anyway
Mhm.
or whatever.
mhm.
It was only during the night, or is it during the day?
Oh, true.
By
don't
the time they were setting up, I assumed that was going into the night. So,
I see. Okay.
what about you, Arvin? How you feeling about things?
Yeah, I don't know about the missile theory because again, like, how would only 4 of the whatever, like 9, 10 be affected by that? And there would be like a reaction, external reaction. I have a good theory of like what happened, and I think I can base it covers most of what happened, maybe. But before that, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in terms of heat, like how did they like do that? Like how do they cook food or
I think I mentioned this, but the tent had
a chimney.
Oh,
flap.
A chimney.
like
A chimney where they could put a stove basically.
Oh,
And that would
okay.
heat the tent, and that's
Okay.
how they cook their food and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of ties into what I'm thinking and it kind of makes sense. So I'm thinking here the culprit is either some kind of like drug or hallucinogen that one of them maybe had brought onto the trip, and that could account for
Yeah.
just like the nonsense of like why would they slash out from the tent, like the fact that they're so like spread out.
But what kind
Just
of
like the
hallucinogen
random-
would you be talking about? The only person I know that would take it is probably the guy with the tattoos. You know, the ringer, the one that they brought in,
The new guy.
the new guy.
Sasha.
I don't know, man. Like they're university students, early 20s. You never know.
Hallucinogens and shrooms are a theory. I'm not touching on that theory because it's one of the less accepted ones,
Really?
but those are definitely a theory.
There's no way all of them took hallucinogens, and there's no way one drug can affect everyone.
Is there like a carbon? Go ahead.
Yeah. Is there like a cult theory? Like this group was like a suicide pact or something? Is that theory?
No.
No. I don't know, man. Just thinking
I
of
mean, hey,
all
man.
bases, you know?
What if no one's looking at that angle? What if you solved it right now?
Exactly, right? What if they're like a group, or that new guy, Sasha, like convinced them to do some shit, you know? I don't know, man.
possible. It's possible. Bro.
It's possible. Some cult shit, you know, like it's a suicide mission at one point. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my I don't know. That's not my route, but like I don't know. That's how I see it at one angle.
Mm.
All right, Arvin.
Or you say,
Oh yeah. Is there like a carbon monoxide theory?
There is a stove theory. I don't know if it hinges on the fact that carbon monoxide got trapped or like smoke got trapped. I think the theory is that like the chimney got clogged and then they got smoked
They
out.
opened it.
Not really carbon monoxide poisoning into being delirious. And stuff
Yeah,
like that.
but if you get smoked out, what do? Just open
The front
open the
thing.
flap. Right?
Yeah.
You don't cut
What if it
Yeah.
what if it happened when they were sleeping? It was already
Yeah, no.
filled by the time they the tent was already filled by the time they realized it and they had to get
That's
out
what I was getting
now.
with the carbon monoxide, because like half the time you don't even know you're inhaling carbon monoxide,
Oh, true.
and that's the scary part. And
If you don't realize you're inhaling carbon monoxide, like that's the thing about it, right? It's a silent killer. Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't realize it.
it doesn't come right away though. Like there have been definitely like reports just like recently or like in modern times where inhaling carbon monoxide makes you do like some delirious type of shit. Like it makes you act fucking wild. So maybe
It's possible. That's the thing. As I was saying, everything and like almost anything is possible. Almost anything except Yeti, you know.
Yeah, but why would they leave camp if it was just carbon monoxide?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. They could have just cut the flap, and that's it.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. They traveled almost a mile down slope
Yeah, that's a lot to get away from something.
in their underwear, basically.
so. What I'm getting out of this is that the most plausible theory is the Avalanche Theory,
And we'll get to that.
but
As
that's
we
not
transfer-
accounting for like some of the deaths, obviously. But
Yeah.
that seemed like the most logical at this point.
I have another question. What you mentioned about like the Mansi people? What if they were like in their territory?
Attacked.
You said they were
So they're-
peaceful.
I think they're
right?
cannibals. That's what I say. That's what I was thinking.
That was one of the theories, but it's kind of disproven because one, they're peaceful people, and two, they were helping. Mansi hunters were helping with the search of the
Oh,
Dyatlov
okay.
group.
Because they're like most
So-
familiar with the land, right?
and they were the Mansi were responsible for finding 2 of the bodies.
Oh, okay.
So they were cooperative. It was a theory proposed at the time, but it's kind of like
Debunked.
yeah, basically debunked. Like it's kind of honestly, it's kind of rude.
It's kind of rude. You die on
they
our
help you
land.
guys.
You die on our land. We help you. And you still blame us. Come on, man.
Basically, that's it's messed up.
True.
You guys were talking. Patrick brought up Sasha and how the interloper probably had something to do with
Yeah.
the group. So the next theory is that Sasha was a KGB agent, and if you're not familiar with what the KGB is, it's basically
A spy.
it's the
It's
CIA.
It's like the Russian CIA. Yeah.
It's like the Russian CIA and Cold War KGB. I'm not gonna elucidate to anything, but I'm pretty sure they were up to some shit.
But why a bunch of random hikers? Like what would the KGB have to do with anything?
So Sasha was what the group he was known to the group as Sasha.
Yeah.
But further research revealed that's not his real name. He has multiple aliases. What his real name is Semon, and there's some documents that refer to him as Alexander. And he has an extensive history in the Russian military.
Interesting.
But there is no solid evidence that link him to the KGB.
Of course, there's no solid evidence that links
I'm
him to
just
the
saying,
KGB.
I'm just in case, like,
There's no such thing. Because it's true.
what if someone left a file?
Look into this light for a
Like-
sec.
Wait, Sasha was the old guy, right? Like the older
Pardon?
guy.
Yeah, with the tattoos.
Look into this light real quick.
Oh, and I should mention that one of his tattoos was a sequence of letters that has no known meaning or in any known language.
It was aliens. Sasha works with the aliens.
There you
So
go,
that-
bro.
So the theory goes is that he was a KGB agent and he was monitoring something, or sorry, the KGB agent theory states that he was going to that mountain to deal with foreign agencies, possibly the CIA. So he met with them. So I'd mentioned that he's one of the 3 bodies that was found more well dressed, and he's the one that was most well dressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's speculation that he was already outside the tent by the time that the rest of the group left the tent. And to like that theory, that speculation helps substantiate this theory that he was going to meet with the CIA, maybe to deal with some stuff with radiation or radioactivity, because as I mentioned before, Cold War, any information that had to do with radioactivity was an invaluable asset, right? And then the theory continues to say maybe the deal went awry and the CIA basically disposed of
Everybody else.
The group.
everybody else.
Remember, no Russians.
So he was just using the hikers as like a way to get and like navigate through that, I guess.
Yeah, so I actually failed to mention that the reason he was joined the group is because he was supposed to be part of another group, but that got canceled, basically. So he...
What a lucky ass group.
I guess so, maybe. Who knows? If he went with that group, maybe we'd be talking about them instead of
Oh, true.
Dyatlov.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Instead of Igor and them.
Kind of like adjacent to that theory is that he wasn't KGB, but maybe a military operative or like a Russian official operative. And he was sent there to spy on another group of Russian officials. So the story goes, he got caught, and then
They got dealt
Russian
with.
officials basically approached the tent via helicopter, scared everyone out, brought everybody down slope where they were going to dispose of them. Rustam maybe tried to fight. That's why he got the bruised knuckles.
Ooh, right.
And then they were let off. 4 of them escaped down to the ravine. The military group basically left the others to the elements because they would soon die of hypothermia anyways. So they went down to the ravine, dealt with Sasha and the others, maybe sending a message with the tongue and the eyes, kind of like as a silenced. And it's noted that like these it's noted that Russia or KGB operatives were trained in certain ways to dispose of people, aka snapping their necks or maybe putting enough pressure on someone's rib cage that it snaps.
Because it makes
And-
sense. They were like, this was during Cold War,
Yeah.
right?
Obviously, they're able, like, all it takes is to just literally cover their tracks.
That theory makes sense, but all via helicopter, like, you know what I mean? Because there's no other tracks or anything other and all that
That's
stuff,
the
right?
thing. There's no real evidence to say that this is true, but there's no evidence to disprove it.
Yeah, for that theory, what's the radiation though? Like, how did they get the radiation?
That exactly. Not everything explains it all.
Everything. Yeah. I see. Oh yeah, this is scary. It's scary. For
That is-
sure.
That is spooky.
So let me ask you guys this.
Yeah.
High morale, high Glenn. I'm just kidding.
Hell
Who's trying to go to the Northern Urals?
Yeah, bro, who's trying to get rank 1? I'm trying to get rank 1.
I should mention that actually recently there was a group of students from Moscow who, in recent day, like this is maybe like a month or 2 ago or something.
Like a month, like 2021 recent day?
I believe so. So
Oh gosh, damn.
so they went to the Dyatlov Pass to pay respects to the hikers, and they got lost.
Okay, I'm not gonna laugh.
Yeah.
They came back.
Okay,
They were
at least
found.
they're good.
They got lost because well, that just goes to show like how easily that terrain is unnavigable by today's modern technology. Oh, that group didn't register to go up there, so that's why they were determined missing, basically.
Oh, I see.
But they came
But-
back, right? Yeah.
They came back. They're all good, but just goes to show how dangerous that mountain is. Or maybe there's something else going on up there.
Who knows?
That's the Bermuda Triangle of mountains.
I mean, if you're gonna go
So-
there, at least bring drones, right?
Yeah, what's the name of this theory again?
The Dyatlov Pass.
The
Question.
Dyatlov Pass. That's scary.
Yeah.
Even the picture of the tent gives me the creeps.
What do you think personally are like the red herrings of this?
That's an interesting question.
Explain red herrings? I don't know what that means.
But a red herring is basically facts or just facts involving like or pertaining a certain thing that people tend to like kind of tunnel vision on when in reality it's not that big of a deal, or people are overthinking it.
Oh, okay.
For me, honestly, I like it. It's a red herring that gets me. It's the tongue and the tongue and lips thing, because in a way that could be explained by like maybe nature taking its course. Like maybe the search group just missed some animal tracks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
But what animal can do that?
There's a Wolverine theory. I'm not going into that.
Wolverine theory.
I could link you this all these theories. Like, I could
Okay.
I'm basically just brushing over what's mostly accepted.
Okay.
But there's
Top 5 theories.
top 5 theories. There's a lightning bolt theory. There's a stove theory. There's gravity fluctuation theory. I'm not gonna explain all that to you people.
True. There's too many. There's too many theories.
Arvin mentioned this. I'm just gonna kind of brush over the last few because there's 2 more, and then there's one really
Good one.
like that kind of ties the bow for me.
Oh, okay.
So there's a theory called infrasound. So infrasound is basically, do you guys watch Mythbusters?
Yeah.
You guys remember the Brown Note episode?
Yeah,
No.
I remember.
Okay, so
South
basically
Park, right?
infrasound. No.
Oh,
so
never mind.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure. Infrasound is the opposite of ultrasound. It's basically a low frequency that could have adverse effects on the human body.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So,
okay.
The topography of the mountain created sort of this thing called a Kármán vortex, which produced the infrasound, which has the effect of loss of sleep, shortness of breath, and an intense feeling of dread in humans. So the theory goes, this messed with their head, maybe a little too much. They all kind of had these adverse effects all at once, causing kind of like
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
them not to be in the right state of mind, and one thing leads to another. I'm not going to spell out all the details because it's really just speculation of how it could go down, but that's one of the main theories. Going off of that, there's another theory that has to do with sort of the wind. It's katabatic winds. So this is a wind of high density that, like a snowball, it rolls down the top of the mountain down.
Okay.
So and it could reach up to speeds of that of a hurricane. The theory goes, this katabatic wind collapses the tent while they're still inside. In this case, the Dyatlov group's only survivable scenario would be to flee the tent, and since this wind is still kind of like raging on or battering them, they're forced down the mountain where they build a makeshift shelter. 2 of them succumb to hypothermia while making the fire. 4 of them go down to the ravine to create a makeshift shelter, while the other 3 try to trek up the mountain to try to get their more supplies for the group,
Stuff back.
where they succumb to their hypothermia. So that is one of the theories, and one of the things that substantiates this theory is that a similar incident happened in the Anaris mountain in Sweden, where 8 hikers were killed and 1 was severely injured in the aftermath of a katabatic wind. I don't have too many details of that scenario, but this is something that happens.
Oh, okay.
Like, You know what I mean? It's not so far-fetched. Like, this happened in another place with a similar landscape.
So is this what ties the boat for you, this theory?
No.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Let's hear it.
And
Let's hear it.
okay. So the last theory, I think we touched up on this, is the Avalanche Theory.
Yeah.
So it's worth noting that the location of the incident did not have any obvious signs of an avalanche having taken place. And like, so an avalanche, it's a destructive force. It would have left certain things
Destroyed.
certain signs that an avalanche occurred, and there was no such signs of that happening. Also, in the past 60 years on that mountain range, I believe there was never an avalanche. This is not the type of thing that happens in this area.
Mm-hmm.
And then an analysis of the terrain and the slopes showed that even if there could have been a very specific avalanche that found its way into the area, its path would have gone past the tent and kind of like in a horizontal direction past the tent.
Okay.
And also, an avalanche, again, doesn't explain radiation and missing eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And again, I think Michael touched up on it. You don't walk away from an avalanche.
Yeah, you're running.
You're in a panic.
However, I think about a month ago, an article came out about the movie Frozen. So, the Russian government actually opened this case back up in 2019 and stated this is the result of an avalanche. Done deal. No more speculation. This is the official government statement. But they said this without scientific proof. So, Johann Gaum, who is the head of the Snow Avalanche Simulation Laboratory at EPFL, is a Swiss Federal Technical Institute type of thing. He's like, I'll be the evidence. I'll get the evidence. And he recalled watching Frozen or Frozen 2, and he's like, damn, that's some sick snow simulation. So he went to Hollywood, where he asked the animators for the code for the snow in Frozen, and he basically simulated the adverse effects of what an avalanche would have on the
Dyatlov
hikers.
Pass. Okay.
Yes. And from that simulation, from that simulation, the simulation yielded results similar to what the Dyatlov Pass group
Faced. Okay.
faced. Like, so broken ribs. I believe it was quoted that it would be handily enough to break someone's ribs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for me, this is interesting because honestly, it doesn't explain everything, but it has to do with Disney. And I'm like, damn, this is just getting better and better.
That's true. That's crazy. Man, use the technology we have today to help kind of like back up the evidence and stuff.
Help solve
Mm-hmm.
a 60-year-old case.
Exactly.
Thank you, Disney. Imagine you're Disney, you get hit up. It's like, yes, I'm Russian, investigating a 60-year-old case. I want your snow.
But
yeah.
So they simulated an avalanche, or they simulated the conditions which led to an avalanche.
Conditions that would lead to an avalanche and then that avalanche yielded those results, I believe. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys.
Wait, so
the Dyatlov Pass.
Hold on. The avalanche would travel horizontally, right? Or from the top.
That's one of the conflicting theories, like not theories, conflicting evidence that would disprove an avalanche theory. But he took these certain parameters and saw what would have happened if this happened. Blah blah blah.
Okay, so where did the avalanche come from?
I could show you the article, but I'm not sure about like the specifics of the simulation. But that's what was talked about in the article.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all I have for you guys on the Dyatlov Pass incident. How are we feeling, everybody?
This shit doesn't add up, man.
I feel like they're never gonna solve this.
There's a missing piece. You know what I mean?
I don't think they're ever gonna solve this.
There's a missing
if I'm
piece.
being honest, like I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like there's too many, just too many.
There's too many.
there was also
There's
another.
too many.
There was also another theory about how like the Russian military had something to do with it. They were doing testing. They got affected. The military wanted them out, right? And then because they were like witnesses and stuff like that, they had them walk down like the death march or whatever, and then just got dealt with one by one. You know,
Jesus.
maybe the fire wasn't for the two of them. You know, you said how the bodies were moved post-mortem. The first two bodies were moved post-mortem. They could have just staged that, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's not out of the question that it was like everything got staged. But also, let's say it was the military. It's a big military cover-up. There's actually one piece of evidence that substantiates what you're saying. But I couldn't confirm it. There was evidence that the government knew about the deaths of the hikers before the bodies were found.
There's
Ooh.
evidence of that.
Supposedly, I couldn't find anything to
back it up.
Yeah, but
They probably the government probably mailed the my condolences to the families, and they're like, "What the hell?
you sent it too soon.
You sent it too soon. What the heck is this?"
It was supposed to be March 1st, not April 1st. I mean, a government cover-up is not out of the question,
I'm guessing
especially for Soviet Russia.
USSR, right? This was during the USSR. Yep. It's government. Government had something to do with it.
All right, so that's how you strongly feel. What do you guys strongly like? Any of these theories that you guys are like more over the other?
My biggest thing is that like when I'm thinking about these theories, like, and I don't know if this is like what was taught to me because of university. Like I'm just skeptical of like everything. I'm even skeptical of like the actual like incident report, right? Because back then, like late 50s, early 60s, like how good were they really at, you know, preserving a crime scene? You know, like just two different investigators or examiners can have two totally different viewpoints on what it is, right? And like you said, the first people who were looking for them were volunteers, right? They're like students and stuff. Maybe they fucked up the crime. Like maybe they fucked up the crime scene, right? I don't know. There's just a lot to think about.
That makes sense.
You know?
Yeah, a lot of mismanaging of evidence and stuff like that.
And like looking at it now, we only have that to go on, which is a whole lot of nothing, but everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess my biggest takeaway from this is the new guy, Sasha. Like he seems to be the most mysterious out of everyone.
There's an imposter among us.
Exactly. And all the theories,
sus.
all the theories you gave out was like it kind of makes sense in a way, you know what I mean? And like since he's like the new guy or whatever, he could like what I like all the theories of like drugs, or like he convinced the group to do something, and or he's a sleeper agent or something like that. All the like just new guy really changed the whole dynamic of this group or whatever. That's what I think.
Ooh, you know what? That's true. Maybe like the winds, you know, like the humming of the winds activated his sleeper agentness. You know?
Ooh.
Jeez,
And
this
then-
is like some Bucky
during the night,
Winter Soldier.
he heard it. Team, we have to go. We have to go. You know?
I got activated.
Sasha, what is going on? No questions. Let's go. Put your pants on. Put your underwear on. Let's go.
This guy got Winter Soldiered.
Sasha's the winter soldier.
So out of 10, how you guys feel about this mystery?
What's the scale? 0 being
Yeah,
what,
like,
and 10
Choose
being
your own
what?
score.
0
Yeah.
out
Choose
of
your
10? 10 out of
Like
10
enjoyment?
spooked.
No, I'm not. I like in the beginning I was spooked, you know, but then they gave all these theories which make sense, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, it didn't solve everything, but maybe it's not one event, maybe it's two events, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
fun to think about.
Avalanche caused by the Yeti.
Yeti and his alien friends.
At the same time.
Maybe the Yeti was the alien.
And how did the Yeti get away? Aliens.
And Sasha was fighting off everybody. Pop, 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 pop.
There's John Wicking that shit. Maybe just everything.
What about
But
the rest of
yeah.
you guys? How you guys feel out of 10?
At the end, I still feel like kind of empty, you know? I just felt
yeah.
like we just watched the first season of the anime only to find out there's no second season.
Right?
Yeah.
Discontinued.
I don't like
Like,
unsolved mysteries. So
There's
0 out of
unsolved.
10, I feel like a 6.
Yeah, I was in like
0
I'm
to
like
10,
a
a 6.
6.5 out of 10 for me.
I have blue balls.
Basically, the Dyatlov
Basically.
7 out of 10 needs a second season.
But yeah, that's all I have for you guys for today's podcast. The very first mystery podcast, conspiracy
Wait.
theory podcast.
You know the pictures?
Yeah.
Do you know the pictures? Do you know like
I was actually just
the
looking at the
date, the
pictures.
stamp, and when it happened? Maybe that has something to do with it, right?
I think they're like, I can send you my resources, and we could maybe there'll be more information
What if
to revisit.
Yeah,
some
what
other
if
time.
what if the tent
Eight
was like
your
started?
house
I
down.
don't know. I don't know how to explain this. Like the picture of the tent was after everything.
possible. Like they cut open the tent after the fact.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Right.
Possible.
Was that Yeti photo really part of the photos that they found?
It's part of the photos.
It was.
taken.
It's
Yeah.
probably like a joke photo, you know.
That's
Yeah,
a dude,
a
man.
meme
Come
photo,
on.
that's what
Yeah,
I'm
you
thinking.
can tell. It's just someone with a face mask, like a ski mask or whatever, with goggles.
Yeah, but it's,
Yeah.
it still looks hella scary though. That's what I'm saying.
It looks hell scary, but you know, why
He's
would
like-
someone take a picture of that? You know,
And
and why
this
would
was like in kind of like in the middle of the camera roll, so why would they take it and then all right, get
then-
back to our hike.
yeah?
We
Yeah,
we just
exactly.
Come on,
saw
everybody.
that.
We
That's
have
what I
hikes
meant,
to
like
go
the
on.
dates and stuff like that. The order of these
Yeah.
photos.
Timestamps.
Yeah.
These are like what,
I'm-
0.5 megapixels. But
Y'all look
yeah,
so happy.
I feel unaccomplished or like unfinished. That's what I feel.
Yeah, exactly.
You still,
Me
got, you still
too.
got that mystery chub.
Yeah.
The Dyatlov Pass edged you.
Edged you. All right, maybe there'll be more evidence to blow our load on in a revisit of the
Yeah.
Dyatlov Pass. But yeah, I guess that's it for today's episode of the podcast. I definitely like doing these conspiracy theories, so hopefully next time one of you guys could bring some of your mysteries.
For all those hikers out there, stay safe and stay the hell out of the Dyatlov Pass.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess we'll never know what happened in Dyatlov Pass.
Hiking is dangerous.
Hiking's dangerous. Make sure you guys stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.
Stay safe and stay
Bye.
tuned for a high morale hike podcast.
No.
Make sure
Just
you got
kidding.
that high morale. All right.
Just
Later,
kidding.
bye.
Bye, everyone.
Just kidding.
Bye.
All right, later.